Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's racing show is sponsored by Review Family Auto um, Auto Sales. Go ahead, Review Family Auto Sales for all your auto sales needs. Tonight on the Josh Long Full Throttle Racing Show, hashtag on YouTube, we have with us Robert Bell. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Hi.
How did your racing career get started, Robert?
I actually started drag racing back in the 80s. And then my brother started racing sprint cars in 89, I think it was. And I helped him for a couple years. And in 92, I started racing sprint cars.
What was it like for you to race for the first time?
What's that?
What was it like for you to race for the first time?
Oh, what was it like for me to race for the first time? Well, it was it was did I lose you?
Nope, you're still there.
Okay, there we are. It was how do I want to explain it? I started racing in Des Moines, Iowa and Knoxville, Iowa. We'd race on Friday nights in Des Moines and Knoxville on Saturday. And I bought my first car off of Lyle Sylvester, which he's been around a long time. And we put a motor together and went out there and just had some fun. But the first year I raced, I crashed almost every darn night in Des Moines. So we would work all night to put the car back together to race Saturday night.
When you raced for the first time, were you the least bit scared?
I don't think I was ever scared. I think it was a different feeling for me. Um, I always drag race, so that's just straight down the line. And the sprint car was around in circles. So it was a big deal.
Okay. So, how much success have you had as a race car driver?
How much success?
Yes.
Um, well, I didn't have hardly any success for 22 years. And in 2013, I had blew up a motor I had spent $30,000 on, and we got 9 laps out of it. So the 9 laps didn't last long enough for my money, and I had decided that I was gonna pack up and quit racing. So I come home. It was on a Knoxville night, and I come home and I was depressed and bummed because I knew I couldn't afford it no more. I just couldn't afford it. So what I did is I got on my Facebook and just started looking at my Facebook, and just go and behold, Johnny Murdoch had midgets for rent. And I said, well, shit, I'm spending so much money every night at Knoxville. I could probably rent a midget and not spend quite so much. So I got a hold of Johnny Murdoch, and we started racing down at East Moline. And the third
Okay.
night, the very third night in a midget ever, I won the feature.
When you
And
win
that was
races, how?
what's that?
Go ahead, finish up. Finish what you're saying.
Okay, we raced the East Moline and won the feature, and then we started winning races quite a bit with the midget. So that made a big deal for me.
So when you win races, how do you celebrate your victories?
Well, the midgets, I didn't drink back then, so it wasn't a big deal. I just come home and told everybody I started winning races, and that's about all it was.
Who? What is the story behind your racing number?
Um, my brother's number was number 17. And I said, well, I'm just going to be 17B. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, well, then I'll be 71. And that's where my number come from.
Okay. Who did you have for sponsors on your racing team?
I never had sponsors really. I had people that would help me out a little bit, buy fuel and this and that. I had some people to help me build motors. Donnie Saunders and Gilbert Saunders, they uh, they built my first 410s and got me started with the 410s, and that was in 2000. I run 360s up until from 1992 to 2000, and then I switched over to 410s.
Okay.
That would have been my first year I ever raced the Knoxville Nationals.
What was an awesome day at the race? What did an awesome day at the racetrack look like for you?
What did what?
An awesome day at the racetrack look like for you?
What was an awesome day at the racetrack for me?
Yes.
All the fans. Um, I become an instant everything to them guys. Everybody just loved me. I'd show up on an open trailer and they loved me. I It turned into a big love of the sport.
What did an awesome day at the race shop look like for you?
Um, my shops were never very nice because I never had a lot of money. So my very first shop was my first trailer I lived in. We built the race car in the shop, which was my trailer house. I threw the chair and the couch out and brought the race car in my living room, and we built it race ready. And I would set the car and watch Jay Leno.
Wow.
Yep, that's all I had in the house was my race car and a
Wow.
homemade hot tub out of an old cattle tank, and
Wow.
that's all I had in my trailer house.
What what was your home racetrack?
My home racetrack was Knoxville. For the first 16 years, I had a perfect attendance.
What was your
I
favorite
raced
racetrack you
there.
ever raced on?
What's my favorite track I ever raced on?
Yes. Yes.
Um, I would probably have to say Kokomo, Indiana,
Why was that your favorite?
because it was high bank, short track compared to the big long half mile at Knoxville. Um, I really liked East Moline, but it really wasn't a sprint car track. I did a lot of racing at Jacksonville, Illinois, and I liked that track a lot too because it was real short, and it was kind of high bank.
Okay. Who was on your racing crew?
Who's on my racing crew?
Yes.
Um, the guy by the name of Tim St. Arnold. He used to drive the 7S car, and he's won races at Knoxville. And when he quit racing, he didn't want to completely call it quits, so he decided to start helping me. And we raced for quite a few years and just did okay. And then we ended up going to Oskaloosa in 2021, and I was doing okay. We were finishing second and thirds and fourths. And in 2022, we started winning races, and that was just phenomenal. That year, we won 6 races out of the 12 races they put on.
Wow.
That's what I said. And the first night we ever won a race in the sprint car at Oski, Tim had to go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's an electrician. And we come back to my place and we started drinking Fireball. And we were still drinking at 5 o'clock in the morning when it was time for him to go to work.
Oh boy.
We just had to do it.
Yeah.
It was
Um,
awesome though. After 22 years, I finally started winning races, and that meant a lot to me, a lot.
so when you were strapped in your race car getting ready to go on the racetrack, what helped you get you psyched up and motivated to go out and do it?
Um, that's a good question. Actually, the race car itself, I never really got aware of anything until they push you off. And once that 800, 900 horsepower motor fires up, you've got something between your legs.
Yep. What do you like to do for fun outside the racetrack?
Um, I'm a farmer and I enjoy farming a lot.
Okay.
I don't farm a lot, but I help a guy that's got quite a bit.
Who are some of your friends at the racetrack?
I didn't understand what you said.
Who are some of your friends at the racetrack?
Who's some of my friends at the racetrack? Oh, um, I don't know if you guys remember her, but Natalie Sathers, she's a good friend of mine.
Yep.
And Brian Clausen was one of my best friends for quite a while until he passed. God bless him. And Brady Bacon, he's a good friend of mine. I talk to him quite a bit when I'm at the races, and I root him on every time he's racing. Um, it's just the crowd. The crowd just loves me. I mean, they literally just love me.
Okay.
And that means a lot to a person that don't
Oh
have
yeah.
much. That don't have
Yep.
much.
Who was your racing hero?
My racing hero, I'll be honest with you, I never got to see the man race. I have two heroes, and one of them is Doug Wolfgang, and the other one was Jan Opperman.
Wow. Wow. Did you ever get a
Jan was
chance to
kind
meet?
Jan was
Go.
kind of my idol, and I got to meet him at the Knoxville Nationals. I'm going to say in 90, oh, it was before he passed. I'm going to say 94 or 95. He was in a wheelchair, but I got to meet him, and that was a big, big, big deal for me.
Did you ever get a chance to talk to Doug Wolfgang at all?
I talk to Doug every time I see him at the racetrack. We do we do talk a lot and talk about the good old days. Yes.
Okay. Um, with your racing career, do you have any crazy racing stories you'd like to share with us?
Well, I don't know. The one of the biggest craziest things was the third night in my race car ever. I was in Des Moines on a Friday night, and the promoter always liked to see a lot of excitement, so he always put me on the pole of the feature in Des Moines. And it was kind of wild because I would get upside down or barrel roll or do some crazy stuff. And I remember the third night out in the sprint car, I told them, I'm going for it this time, boys. I'm going to win this feature. And I went into turn one and I was leading the race after the green flag. And I hit the exit ramp, which was 3.5 foot, 4 foot concrete wall. And I broke that sucker off. And
Wow.
I flipped, and I remember they loaded me up in a Cadillac ambulance and drove me to the pit gate and then transferred me over into a regular ambulance to take me uptown to the hospital. And I was in the hospital for a couple days, but that next Friday night we were in the car racing.
Wow.
Yeah,
How badly did you
I wasn't supposed to be racing, but we were.
how badly did you get hurt in that accident?
Um, it was bad enough. I remember being in the hospital that they were afraid my brain was swelling, so they taped my eyes in so my eyes wouldn't pop out.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
remember my mom coming in the room and my dad's name was Bill. And she said, Bill, I think he's going to pass. And I kept going, Bob, I just can't see. Everything else is pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a wild night. It was. And
So
then
is everybody else?
one of the other wild nights was the first night we ever won a feature in the sprint car. It was totally awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh yeah.
So is there anybody you'd like to thank for helping you get this far with your racing career?
Um I I like to thank each and everybody that had anything to do with helping me. And I want to really thank my best friend Tim St. Arnold. If it wasn't for Tim, we wouldn't have won a lot of races. He was with me the night that I won the heat race at the Chili Bowl, and that was a really really big deal. I mean, out of 40,000 people in them grandstands, there wasn't not one person that wasn't standing and giving me a standing ovation. It was just totally awesome.
Okay. What types of racing do you like to watch on TV?
Um, that's kind of funny because a lot of people are into NASCAR, and I think the only reason I watch it now a little bit is because of Kyle Larson. I am pretty good friends with Kyle. I met him through Brian Clausen before Brian passed. So
Okay.
I got to know Kyle, and him and Casey Kane and all them guys at the Chili Bowl. They come over and talk to me every year, just to even if they just come over and say hi.
Okay. Very cool.
That's what I
But
thought too.
so at this portion of the racing show, Robert, I like to turn the mic over to my guest. If you have a couple questions you'd like to ask me, you can ask me a couple questions.
Okay. Do you race sprint cars?
Nope, I don't.
Have you ever raced?
Nope, I can honestly say I've never have.
Okay. What got you to want to start doing the show?
I've been a racing fan for about 30 years. And yeah, so that's how that kind of got started.
So here's one question. How long have you heard of me?
A long time. A long time.
Did you ever get to watch me race at Knoxville back in the days?
I know I was at the Knoxville Nationals in 99 and 2000. So 98, yeah, 90, 98, 99. So if you were there racing, then probably I did.
I wasn't racing in 99 yet, but in 2000, oh, yes, I was. But I wasn't racing the Nationals because I didn't get a 410 motor until 2000. So, but
Okay.
I was at the races.
Yep. Okay. Did you ever come up to Jackson Motorplex at all?
I raced Jackson absolutely back in the old track.
Okay. Back.
I
Okay. When was
remember
that?
racing Jackson, Minnesota. I remember racing there one time, and I pulled up there and I had two cars. I had my my 305 non-wing, which we had a class down there at Oski, and they had a 360 show up there. And I remember racing the 360 wing car, and I didn't do real well. And there was a guy pitted right next to me that had just bought a brand new Gertie engine, and they put it in the car, and they were struggling with it. They finally got it running good with the wings, and they had a race. I don't know if you remember. They used to have a race that the 360s would pull their wings off and run non-wing, and they
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I was in that with my 305 car. They said I could run the old 305 car. And I remember we started 17th in the feature, and the kid that was pitted next to me, they were just laughing at me. He said, "Oh, you're going to finish dead last." And I told him, "You'll see. I'm going to be a lot better than you think." And they pretty much just told me that it wasn't even worth my time of going out on the racetrack. And I remember they started third and they finished 17th, and I finished third that night in the non-wing class against the
Wow.
360s. Yep. I remember that.
Wow.
Oh, that's one race I will never forget. When I pulled into the pits, the guy's dad come over and he apologized to me. He said, "We had no right to tell you that you weren't going to do good." And we did. We stayed on the bottom, and that's where I usually run. Like the dude, he always run the bottom, and I stayed on the bottom. And each lap, I'd pass one or two cars, and before you know it, we were in the top three.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty
It
cool.
was awesome, and I
Oh yeah.
liked the
Very.
old racetrack. I liked it. I
Yeah.
mean, I like it now. Don't get me wrong, but the old racetrack, when you'd come down the back chute, your front right tire would come off the ground. Instead of the front left, it was always the front right. And I was always scared to go into turn three with that front right up off the ground. And Terry McCarl said, "You just stay right on it. You can get right through there. It'll go right on around." And by God, he was right.
Yep. Well, Robert, I would like to thank you for being on our racing show tonight. Do you have anybody else you'd like to thank you for helping you get this far?
I just like to thank my fans. I love them all. I think it's awesome. And I want to thank you for putting me on your show. I think that's pretty cool. I'm kind of getting old and I got a lot of health issues, but I would really like to get back to racing. It looks like we're going to the Chili Bowl again this year.
Okay. Well,
So,
good luck to you with your health issues, and hopefully you get better.
yeah, I
But
appreciate that.
I would like to thank you for being on our racing show tonight, Robert. So I will have you step out, and I will give you a call in a little bit to thank you. Okay?
Yeah, no, I thank you very much for putting me on.
Not a problem. You have a good night. Okay?
You too, buddy.
Yep. ladies and gentlemen, that was Robert Bell on our racing show tonight, talking about his awesome, amazing racing career. But if you'd like to sponsor our racing show or be on a racing show, feel free to call us or text us at 712-209-738, or you can email us at jjnolan151@gmail.com. Have a good night, everybody.